Okay, so good afternoon and welcome to today's session. In this session, I want to teach you how to create a registration form using HTML, CSS, and how to process the data using PHP. Now, in particular, I'm going to show you how to pick the data from the PHP form to the server, that is to PHP. Then I'm also going to talk something about cross-site scripting. I'm also going to teach you how to validate the data that you've picked from the form, how to communicate any errors that you're having with the data back to the user, how to persist the data on the form in case there's an error, and also I'm going to teach you how to give the user just general feedback. So generally, that is how I've planned this session. I hope by the end of this session, you are going to be knowing how to do all this. Okay, so just to begin with, I just searched on Google on free HTML, CSS login forms, and I got this site freefrontend.com, which gave me a few options here, and particularly I landed on this option, which I downloaded. So this is the login form that you're going to be using. So I didn't want us to write the HTML and CSS code, so that's why I want us to begin by using that. So I thought it was important to mention. You can choose any other that you feel you want to use, and you can always Google for these templates because they are free. It's a good practice because it helps you to save some time. Okay, so let me close that. Then open this. Okay. So my downloads, I have this form. Let me just copy it. So I'm copying it from the downloads, from where I have it. I want to take it to our project folder in WAMP. So WAMP www, then voting system, this one. So I just want to paste this there. So for now, it's called index.html, but I want to rename this. I want to rename it to maybe registration or sign up. Sign up.php, like that. Did that? Okay. So let me just open it up first with Google Chrome so that you can see it. So that's how it looks like. You can look at the complete URL. Indeed, it's that one in the voting system. It's called signup.php.html. You can see the problem there. So I'll have to really open up this page, then save it, copy the code, then save it as signup.php. So this one is still .html actually. So let's begin by doing that. So how to do that? You can just right click, then you open, you come to edit with Notepad++. Then I just want to do Control-A to select everything, Control-C to copy, Control-N to open a new tab there, then Control-V to paste, Control-S to save it. Then I want to call it sign up. Sign up.php, like that. Then I save it. So now I can delete this one. This one that is this one here. I can delete this one. So just deleted that. Okay. So if I want to access this, I now have to go to Google Chrome. Then I type voting system localhost. I have to go through localhost. So I have to go to localhost, that / voting system. So that's how you access your PHP pages. Otherwise, as you saw in the other one, they'll just run without running through the server, and they'll not be executed in their PHP. So I'll now click on signup.php like that. So now this is my PHP page. Okay, so we just want to edit it a little bit because we want to add some few fields here and maybe rename some. So we don't want this to be our login page. We want it to be our sign up page. Okay, so let's see. Let's go to the code in the computer hanging or something. Okay. Okay, so this is our page. We just want to change the HTML just a little bit to add and remove some stuff. So we can begin here on the form element.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes. Yes, please.
I was requesting. Could you send the link for the form you've downloaded so we can all follow you as you do the project?
Oh, okay.
The link for the form that you got online.
Okay. Let me just do that right away. Okay, so I have just posted that. That is the link for downloading that form. So we can continue. So on the form element, you must have there are two compulsory attributes. The first one is called the action attribute. So action attribute says which page on the server is going to process this form. So in this particular example, we're just going to put the PHP in this page. So we will say that on the server, we wanted to look for signup.php. That page will process this form. Then the other one is the method. The method attribute is used to specify how the data that is in this form is going to be transferred to the server. So we have two methods. We have method post and method get. So for today, we're going to use method post. Don't worry so much about this. We are going to learn about it later. They are called PHP super globals, super global variables. So we're going to learn about them later. Okay, so let's also change this to sign up. Whether it's sign up one name or two names. Just say sign up here. Okay. Then we can also pick now during registration, which are some of the important attributes that you think are important to pick during registration, just to keep it at minimum, to make registration less tedious. Which ones do you think are very important? Remember, we're just creating a sign-up form. So which uh, uh, Tuesday. Okay. Okay, so let's say maybe we're going to pick phone number. I just wanted to see this. It is email or phone number. Okay, password. Okay, so for this, let's say we are going to pick, just to keep it easy, we can add other things later. But let's say maybe we want to pick the let's say maybe we want to pick the first name. So we just want first name. So that's the label for that. So input type text, that's okay. We can remove the placeholder because we have the label. We can just remove this. We can have the ID remain, and we can call this f name. Something like that. Another attribute that is important that is used in PHP in picking up the name now is the name attribute. It's going to pick up the value from this form. So you can just have that. I can select this, for example, here in Notepad++, and do Control D to duplicate it, just like copy and paste and duplicate. So we can have also maybe something like surname. Okay, so we can call this also f name, because the label here, the for attribute is supposed to be the same as the ID attribute. So I'm just changing that to f name. Here we can have surname, ID, surname. We can just give the name the same name as the ID. It won't really affect it. But please remember, ID attributes, normally we use it for CSS, and we also use it for JavaScript if we want to validate the data using JavaScript. So here, that is the ID. But name attribute, we use it to pick the data from that particular field. Okay, surname. Okay, from there we can have maybe we can have the contact. So we can have, I think, we can have phone number. Remember, this is just an example. Phone number, like that. And then, so this we can call it phone number, like that. And the name can be the same. A good thing, you see, you this Notepad++, you can't be able just to type something, and if you typed it before, it can autocomplete. So you just press enter to fill it in. Because this is the phone number, and normally we want to take the phone number in a particular format, we can have the placeholder here. You can have a placeholder. Maybe you tell them we just want them to do it 07 xxx xxx xxx, something like that. Just to tell them that we don't want them, for example, to do plus 254. So the placeholder for you who've forgotten is what appears. As you can see, what appears inside the text field, but when you start typing, it disappears. That's what the placeholder really achieves. Okay. Another thing that might be important to pick during registration might be the email address. So you can just pick the email. So email. Then we can remove this. Can remove the placeholder. And email address. Just like that. For now, let's leave this as type text. We can leave that as type text, but we're gonna change it into type email later after we learn about validation. Also this one, because we just want the phone number, we can actually change it to type number, for example. Okay, then we want the password. Do we want them to repeat the password to confirm the password? We can, but for now, let's just leave it. Let's just have one password. We just pick one password. So here, we also include a name attribute. So name is equals to password. Like that. Okay. And then for the button, we don't want to use this button because here it means you have to process it using JavaScript. So we just want input type submit. Input type submit for the ID. We can call it save. For the name, we can call it save. Then another very important attribute in the submit button is the value. That is what will appear. That is what will appear. So can we call this just sign up like that? That is the text that will appear inside. That is the text that will appear inside the button. Okay, so I've just done Control S to save. You can confirm that you've saved if this has been grayed out. Otherwise, if we make some changes, just observe here. If I make some changes, you see now it becomes active. If I click save, then it's grayed out. So you know that actually you've saved. Then I do Alt Tab to go back to my browser. Then I can do F5 on my keyboard, or I can punch this to refresh, or I can actually click here on the address bar and press enter on my keyboard. Okay. So now we have our sign up form here, but it has gone beyond the body of the form. So we can just make some, excuse me. We can make some changes on, the CSS just to make sure that the div or the form background, the shape, see, we have the form. We have a div closing this one. Okay, maybe it's the form. Let me see whether the form has a height. It has a height. What if we can do out of here? Save it, refresh. Good. Auto sorts it out. So it's gonna just take the height. Gonna take that height, but the word sign up has actually disappeared there. Let me see. 520. What will we make it? 1000 pixels. Save it. Refresh F5. some stuff like disappeared up there. Oh. Let me see. Position absolute. Okay, I think we can just leave it at auto for now. Can just leave it at auto. Then we can sort out the other bit that has gone away. Let me just see, because I think that is the heading 1 has disappeared. It's actually heading 3. This one, this sign up here. Let me just see. Form H3, font size, line height, weight, text align. You have a kind of top. Okay, let me try margin top to see if I can push down. I can push down that form. Let's say 50 pixels. Save. Refresh. Okay, I think that's better. We now have sign up. We can also change this maybe to 80. Let's see how it looks like. Refresh. Okay, so we can have it as that. Okay, so we have first name, we have this surname. Have I spelled surname correctly, by the way, or is it supposed to be SU? Surname, and it's one name, right? I think I've misspelled that one. Okay, let's just change it. It's good to. I think it's supposed to be surname. Okay, sorry about that. Surname. Sorry. I think it's supposed to be perfect. Okay, what else? So, I think so far so good. Anyone with a question on anything that we've done so far? You can see the placeholder on the phone number, how it's appearing. But if I begin typing my number, it disappears. Okay, so anyone with a question before we continue? And see the sign up button. We can also change the sign up button so that it can look a little bit better. Type submit. Let me see. We have the button. Yeah, this button. And change this to input. Do something like that. Type is equals to. I'm not sure whether the syntax here is correct. Type submit. Save. Refresh. Good. So just change this from button to input type submit, just to ensure that our button looks like a button, is distinguished from the other elements. Okay, so anyone with a question or a comment, please, before we continue? Okay. Okay, so okay. So now I think we can now dive into PHP and pick the data from this particular form. Kuna mtu ana swali? Fikia hapo. Swali tafadhali. Ask a question if you have it. Anyone with a question? You can still hear me?
Yeah, you're loud and clear.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so now we want to begin now by picking the data from the form. So how do we do that using PHP? Eh? Now, we want to put PHP on the very top of our page before any other code. Eh? So we're just going to do the PHP tag like that. Like that. Now here, here we are supposed to create variables. We are supposed to create variables that will pick up the data. So we want to pick up the first name, the surname, the phone number, the email, the password. So those are the things we want to pick up. Eh? So we can just start by creating variables for that. Eh? So we can call this one first name like that. Then you can say it's equal to the second variable that we want to create. We are calling it surname. Then it's also equal to the third variable that we want to create. It's called phone number. Then this one is equals to another variable we want to create. Is it email? If we call it email, you can call your variable anything here. It doesn't have to be the same name as the name attribute of your form control that you've used. Other than email, what do we have? Is it password? Password. Do we have anything else? I don't think so. Then we can say all this, we want it to be an empty string. We are not assigning it to anything. We're just assigning it to an empty string. So you do that by doing either single quotes or double quotes. Eh? So that's just what I've done here. It's a good habit to comment your code. As we said, you comment your code by using a hashtag or by using 2 forward slashes. I like using that. You can just say here, creating variables to hold the form data like that. So that's what we are doing here. Okay, so remember, whatever I've done here is just the same as doing first name is equals to that, then semicolon. Then you go to surname is equals to that, semicolon. So it's completely the same. Eh? It's the same. But now here I'm just doing it in one line. Just doing it in one line. Eh? Just to make it even more readable. But if you don't like this way, you can just declare each variable on its line. Eh? Now, the next thing we need to do now is to pick data from each of the fields, each of the form fields. Eh? And here we use a super global variable called post. We use that post. So how we write it is like that. How we write it is like this, post like that. Then after that, we do write the name of that particular input. So this name. So for example, here it's F name. Here it's surname. Here it's phone number. Here it's email. Here it's password, like that. So you see, in the first example, you see, I've called the variable first name and not F name. I've done that on purpose so that you understand that this name must not be the same as the name in PHP. But otherwise, for the rest, I've just used the same name. So here, I'm just going to write here f name. So that's going to pick the first name. I can duplicate this code by doing Control D, just putting my cursor there and doing Control D. Then I can do surname, enter, surname, enter. I duplicate this, Control D for number, enter. I'm just double clicking to select one word. If you want to select a single word, you double click, tuck, tuck. Then for number, enter. Control D again, email, email, enter, tuck, tuck, email, enter. Like that. Then I go down to the password. Why didn't I do Control D? Control D. Password. Password. That. And password. Like that. So now, if we click the submit button, if we click the submit button, this button, if we click it, then this data is going to be sent to this page. This data is going to be sent to the server. The server is going to look up for this page, and when it looks up for this page, it's going to find this PHP code, and therefore it's going to pick this data and save it here. Pick this data and save it here, and so on and so forth. So that is how we pick the data. But as it is right now, if we save our work and we go back to our browser, if we if for example we type something, we type that, we enter some password 1 2 3, if we click sign up, nothing really happens. Did I save? Yes, I saved. Okay, post. I was expecting an error from this post. Okay, let me see. Good. Yeah, I was wondering how come I don't have errors. I was expecting some errors. There's nothing I've changed. I think just the page had not been reloaded. So really, you can see here that we are experiencing our first errors. PHP errors can look a little bit intimidating or scary, and they're just telling us undefined index f name, undefined index surname, phone number, email, password. What they're simply saying is that this PHP is being executed when we reload. When we reload the page, it's being executed even before we click the submit button, and therefore it doesn't know f name, it doesn't know surname, it doesn't know phone number, email, it doesn't know, because no one has posted any data to this page. When we just refresh, no one has posted. The user has just landed on this page, so they have not posted data. But if I post data, by the way, just look, those errors should disappear. If I post data to this page, the errors will disappear. So to avoid that issue, to avoid this issue where these posts are being executed before a user submits any data, we use an if statement. Now look, if, then we use a PHP function called isSet. So because it's a function, of course, it's going to have an opening and closing bracket. Okay, so I'll just select everything here, then push them in. And then here, inside the isSet function, we pass to it the and post super global, and here we write the name of the button, the name of the button, of the submit button. Here the name is save, so we write here save. So what does this do? We are simply saying if the button is clicked, then do this. So if we refresh our page, because the button has not been clicked, then this will not be executed. So that is exactly what this particular if statement is doing. If is set is simply saying, has this button save been clicked? As we've said, we picked data and action from forms using method post, and by using method post, we use the $_post super global in order to do that, and the name of our button is save. So right now, if I save our work and we go back to the browser and refresh it, so no error. So we do not have any error right now, because really at this point we have everything we want. It's always good, for example, to test. So we didn't do a comment here. You can say picking up the data from the form, and here we can say checking if the save button has been clicked. So let us give you this code so that you can be able to play around with it. So don't worry if you're not able to follow. In case I forget to comment somewhere, you can always remind me so that I actually do that. Okay, we can actually also cut this so that we just take it inside, because those variables, we only want to create them after the button save has been clicked. So we can also place them inside the if statement. So it's good to indent your code. As you're seeing, I'm just indenting my code so that it can be neat and readable. Okay, I was saying you can always use your echo statement. The echo statement just to print out the variables to test whether indeed they're being picked. So, for example, I can do that. Then I can do first name space surname space phone number space email space password. That's right, like that. So I just want to see whether let me do a break there, maybe also a break here. So we should expect some white space on the top. So I just want to see if I click post, is my data being picked from the form and will it be printed on this page? Okay, so let's go back after saving. Oh, sorry. I can come here, I can refresh, then I can come and fill this form. 1, 2, 3, 4 for the password, sign up. So if I sign up, I was expecting it to print. Those variables somewhere up there because I've echoed them. How come it's not printing? The CSS of the body, background color. Oh, or is it the color maybe? Because by default, maybe it might be the issue of color, because by default text is formatted as text is formatted as color black. So maybe it's the issue of color, that's why you cannot see it. We can just do then a paragraph here. Let's just make this a paragraph. Then style. I'm liking it that I'm finding these challenges so that I can be able to explain to you some other things. Okay, so here you see style is equals to, then we have to do some quotes. Now, I just want to remind you that, or let you know that because for the echo we've used double quotes, for the style attribute here, we cannot use double quotes, we have to use single quotes. Otherwise, PHP will get confused. So you should always know how to play around with this. If outside you've used single quotes, then inside you have to use double quotes or something like that. So we just want to do, is it color? We can make this white. So that one, semicolon. So we're just doing some inline CSS. Save. We reload our page. Then we fill up the form again. 1, 2, 3, 4, sign up. Good. And you see, we have our data here. So, ladies and gentlemen, we've just achieved one of our very first tasks in learning how to create a sign-up form by picking the data. So what has happened is that when we click on sign up, the data is taken to the server. The server really is our Apache server that we installed with WAMP. And then the server processes the data and returns it back to us. And it's printed there. So we've just sent the data and it has come back in that form and we've printed it. So we have the email, the first name, the surname, the phone number, we have the email address, and we have the password. Okay, so let's see the next thing we're supposed to do. So before we learn how to validate, we need to understand why we need to validate. Now, some hackers have a habit of, they enjoy doing hacking, and therefore sometimes they can come and attack your site. Now, cross-site scripting is commonly referred to XSS. So X for cross, S for site, S for scripting. So they're called cross-site scripting attacks. So a hacker might come to your site and instead of posting data, instead of posting legitimate data, what they'll do is that they'll post some script. It can be some JavaScript, it can be some SQL commands, and therefore, if you don't protect or validate data, it can mess up with your site. Okay, so let me just show an example. Let me put the password here as 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, for the first name, instead of submitting a valid name, this guy goes ahead and does a script like that. Then we have a function in JavaScript called window.location. While this might not work here in Google Chrome, you'll get that in some browsers it actually works. These attack. So let's close the script. Then here, this guy wants to relocate you to, for example, www.facebook or let me say twitter.com, like that. So what happens is, if this guy submits this will be sent to the server, and if you echo it like the way we echoed, so it's going to echo back. If it echoes back this, your browser is going to process this JavaScript, and this JavaScript is going to relocate you to twitter.com. So that's just an example of a cross-site scripting attack. And as I said, it can actually also be actually an SQL statement to delete data in your database. So that's why you need to do validation. So let's just see. I'm not sure whether this Google Chrome is gonna accept this, but let me just click sign up. Okay, so for Google Chrome, it's not gonna accept it. It's going to remove it. So you can see now we don't have Kelvin. Eh? It's going to remove it. But in some older browsers, if I had entered that, then it would actually be sent back to us, and it's gonna relocate us to somewhere else. Or someone can do a select statement to delete data. For example, yeah. So select star or something like that, blah blah blah. So we're not really going to enjoy this because I'm using this browser. Let me see if I use, I have Mozilla. Perfect. How come? Okay, let me just install Firefox. Then maybe we can test. We can test that later. Firefox. I'm not sure whether Firefox will allow you to see that. Okay, so as that continues to happen, I will show you how to validate your data. So validating data. So we will start with validating on PHP. Then we'll come back to validating on HTML also. Okay, so here. Anyone with a question, by the way? Excuse me. Anyone with a question? So I'll just comment this. I don't want to echo that. I don't want to delete it for now. So here I'm teaching you a very important concept, the concept of using echo to test. You know, sometimes you're saving something in your database, but you're not getting it. So when you use echo, you can be able to see, is this data really reaching to the server? So that is exactly what I've done here. So please remember that. Okay, so now we can say validating. Okay, now the first one we can try out is checking whether some data is missing. Some data is missing. Eh? So to do that, we can use an if statement and maybe some else. Now here we want to use a function that is called empty. So PHP has a function that is called empty. If you pass it a variable, for example, first name, if first name is empty, that means it doesn't have any characters in it. It has nothing in it, then it's going to return true. Otherwise, it's going to return false. So here we just say, if first name is empty, then say something. Say something. Yeah. Say something. So for example, we just want to echo. Let me copy this. Copy, paste. So here, we just want this to be red, and we want to say, please enter your first name, like that, full stop. So that is what we want to do. Otherwise, we want to do something else, for example. So that is how we can check whether data is missing. So here you can say check the first name have been have been failed. Something. Okay, so can do Control D. I highlight and then Control D. Then I can come here. Then we can check here with sign. So you can just do sign. And please enter your surname. We can do Control D. Like that. Then check whether they've entered phone number, then email, and password. So here, I'm going to say phone number. So we just want to check whether the phone number, that. Then excuse me, we can check the email. Email address. So remember, we are testing the variable email. So please enter the email address. Okay, as you're going to note, programming is really going to mess up your English a little bit. Sometimes you really don't know whether certain English words are single words or they are separate words, like for number, email address, because you get that when you're creating variables, you're not putting the space. So sometimes that can mess up with your grammar. And generally, programming messes up with your grammar. So be ready for that. Okay. Then we can check the password. So, password. Perfect. So, sure. Okay. So here we're just saying if it's empty, we want it to say so, to print. Otherwise, if it's not empty, we want it to do something else. Something else is just to continue with the validation. So let's just save this, and we go back to our site, we refresh, then we can click sign up. So you can see when we click sign up, we lose everything, but we also get, please enter your first name, please enter your username, phone number, blah. If we fill in, for example, all that, and we just leave out the password and we click sign up, then we get please enter your password. Please enter your password. So that's just one way of validating your data, because you don't want to miss out any data that you want. Then you save an empty string in your database. Okay. Now, after that, the next important validation is the validation that is used. Excuse me. It is the validation that is used to prevent cross-site scripting from happening in your site. So to do that, you use. So here we're just going to say first name is equals to HTML special chars. So there's a function called HTML special chars, like that. So then you say first name. So let me explain. The purpose of this HTML special chars is to remove or treat any tags that it receives just as normal text and not as HTML tags. So for example, when we send the script is going to be returned, but not as HTML or JavaScript code, but just as a text. And therefore the browser cannot execute it. It cannot relocate the page. So I hope you get what I'm saying. So that is the HTML special chars function. It is very important to prevent cross-site scripting from occurring in your site. So here, prevent cross-site scripting attack. So we're just using that. So we can copy this, paste it here, change this to surname. So remember this, we're just overwriting the variable with whatever we will get from this particular function. So that function is used for that. This is phone number. So we change this also to phone number. But before this, I wish we could test. But I'll just delete something there. Then we test. I'm not sure whether it's going to work on whether the attack is going to work on Firefox. So even your password, you should do that. Okay. Excuse me. Okay. So now, what else do we want? We can save this. So really, there's nothing we can see from this. Let me just check whether Mozilla finished installing. Okay, so Mozilla, I just want to do local host voting system sign up. Okay, have I saved? Did I save this? I already saved it. Okay, let me just comment this on the first name. Let me comment that. Then we try out the attack again. So we just want to do script window.location. We want it to go to google.com and script like that. Okay, so we can sign up. Please enter sign in. Oh, so even this one worked on it. So that attack is not also working on, this one. It's just simply being ignored. So Mozilla also worked on it. So I hope you've understood. But we have many other ways in which you can hack it. Okay. Excuse me. Let's go ahead now and remove that. The other validation that you can do is to check, for example, whether the phone number, for example, is the number of characters that you expect, or whether first name and surname are just using A to Z and maybe not numbers. For number, you can check the length. Is the length okay? Is it a number? The other validation you can do in your email address. Is it a valid email address? For the password, you can also use, you can also check if you want the password to contain, I don't know, underscore, a special character, a number, at least one uppercase. you can also be able to do such kind of validation. So let's just Google. I want to Google, there's a function called PregMatch. PregMatch. Let me just start with PHP. PHP PregMatch to check name. Good. So we just want to copy one that is simple to ensure that names just contain excuse me, to ensure that names just contain letters A to Z. So let me see, can I get a good one here? Pretty much. Okay. Okay. So this one actually checks even if it's missing or it's incorrect. Pretty much. I just wanted to check if the name has the letters that we want, just A to Z. Okay, so just to tell you, this is one of the most important sites that you're going to be interacting with as a developer. It has a large society, people that answer any PHP questions, especially PHP and web development. It's called Stack Overflow. Please make it your friend. Make sure you create an account here and always use it. You can see, for example, this guy here. I'm having difficulties with my PHP code, which validates the form on the page itself before sending out to my email. So you see, and they go on to explain, then they get several answers from other people in the community. So normally, whenever I Google anything, I normally go to Stack Overflow. Even if it has not been ranked as the first one, I try and find Stack Overflow because I believe that I'm going to get an answer. I'm going to get an answer from there. So always make sure that you use Stack Overflow. Okay, so here, let me just see. Check whether, for example, special characters have been used on the name. So we can just, for example, say here if so here that is called the negation operator. If not, so if it's not, let me see, if it's not empty and it does not have A to Z, that means it has something else, right? So here we change this to first name. Do that. So here we just want to echo the error. We just want to echo the error, for example. Please use letters A to Z only on your first name, something like that. You can just do something like that. So we can also copy this, paste here, So we can do the same thing for the surname. Just that. And we change this variable to surname like that. Okay, so that is used for that. For phone number, we can check whether it's a number. So check whether phone number is a number. So again, we can do if it is, or if integer, whichever you want to use. Then you put that for number. So we just want to do not. We negate that. So if it's not a phone number, we want to print out some error. We want to print out some error message. So copy. We want to print out, for example, phone number. Phone number must be numbers between 0 to 9 only, something like that. So we can actually do that. We can also, for example, check the length. So for example, if is it called count? Counts. So we want to count the phone number. So if this is not equal to, if it's not equal to, so 0, 7, how many are those? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So if the phone number is not equal to 10, we want to tell the guy phone number must have 10 digits, like that. So these are just validation to make sure that you're getting the correct data. Okay, and then here we have a function, PHP function for validating the email. Filter var. Let me just check it. PHP function to validate email. This one, filter var. Let me check on this. I don't want to use pragmatch. I want to use filter var. This one. Okay, this one. So I can just copy this and paste it. So for the comment here, I can say check whether email address is valid. So I just want to check. So if not, filter var, then the variable email, then filter validate email. Then we don't have a variable, so we just want to print something. So we can say invalid email address, and we can actually print it. We can print the email and tell the please check and try again. So this function is used to validate an email address. Okay, then for the password, we also have functions to check the password using the break match to meet the conditions. For example, the password length, it must have an upper, lower. So I want to leave that for you as an assignment. Please, just the same way I've searched for these other two functions, I want you to search for a PHP function to validate password. So I'm not going to do that. We're just going to check whether it's empty only. Yeah? So let me save this. Excuse me. Okay, so now we can go back to our code and refresh. Okay, so for example, here I want to say Mary and then Oko. So it's not supposed to accept that. For phone number, maybe I do 071414. For email address, I put I forget the dot something. Password, I just enter as a password. So if I do sign up, oh, we have some error. The first one is undefined variable. So there's a variable I misspelled. So I misspelled first name. Eh? Now, normally, as you can see here, it tells you the page and the line, so line 58. So here, I can't see the line because my form is obstructing that, the whole of that error message. But I can just search for this. So find Control F, then far name. So that is what I'm supposed to change, because it's supposed to be first name. I found it. Let's change this to first. So I'll save and then I'll refresh. So that's how I remove that. Oh, another undefined variable. Seems my keyboard is not pressing some characters. So first name again there, but this time I left the T out. Oh, it's here. Okay, save, refresh. So that's how you get rid of the errors. The next one is count. Must be an array. Count must be an array. Okay. Let me see. PHP count. Function to count for the strings. Let me see. Oh, count is for arrays. Return the number of items in an array. Which one is used to count in PHP? Count characters in string length. Okay, let's use string length instead of count. So on phone number. Excuse me. So phone number, instead of using count here, I can use str length for string length. Just want to count the number there. Let me save. Let's refresh this again. Note that this time I'm refreshing from here, because if I refresh from here, it will lose the data. But if I refresh from here, it asks me, do you want to resubmit the form? Yes, because I want to resubmit the data so that I get the errors. Okay, so you can see now I've eliminated that error. So you can see here, please use letter A to Z only on your surname. And then for number must be digits between 0 to 9 only. Did I use something that was not a 0? For number must have 10 digits. then invalid email address. Please check and try again. So let's do the correct thing and see whether we still have errors. Sign up. There's a problem here on phone number because we entered the correct one. Please enter your password, or we didn't enter password. So let's check this validation. It seems to have a logical error. Must be digits between 0. Okay, so for phone number, we have not. We can just check here. Check whether a variable is an integer in PHP. This int function returns true if variable is int. So have we used it incorrectly? Is int. Is int then the variable? Okay. We are entering an integer. And the C is int. Not gerrit. Okay, I can see it's correct. I'm just wondering why we are getting this error, even when why are we getting that error even when the phone number is correct? Let me see. Maybe there's a space. There's a space where I might do another number. 07 0714141414. Sign up. It's a little bit in the touch. Oh, I see. Now I understand why. You see, I'm not sure whether that is the problem, but you see here, we are assigning this variable to an empty string. Just like it's taking this as a string. Let me just assign it to a number and see whether it's going to work. Maybe to 0. It will not work really. Save it. It worked. So that was the problem. So the problem, as I've realized, is that I had already made this variable a string by assigning it an empty string. So when it saves the number is also saved as a string. So I think that was the challenge there. So I hope you've also learned something there. Okay, what else can we do now? I think we're done with the validation. So now, does anyone have a question or a comment before we continue? Can I take any of your questions or comments? Anyone? Are you understanding?
Yes, we are getting it.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Okay, so for now, our errors are appearing here. but I want them to appear here. I want them to appear below. I want them to appear below these fields. So below the field, that is what I want us to do now. So we're going to do some tweaks on our code in order to achieve that. First thing is because for each error, for each value, we have multiple, we can have more than one error. So I just want to I just want to create an array which can hold all our errors, or something. So that is what I want to do. So to do that, I can just create an array here, and maybe I call it error, like that. So error, then I want this to be an associative array, so I'll give it names. So first name, then I assign it some value, then comma, like that. Then the second error that you can have other than first name is surname, like that. Then I assign it a value, just an empty string. Then we have phone number. So as you know, associative arrays have a name. So the indices are not defined by the number but a name. So that's the difference between the normal array and associative array. For number, empty, and then I have email. So like that, empty. Then the other one is I think password. Sorry. So password. Okay, so I just created an error there, an error array, an error array. So instead of echoing, we want to store the error. So how to do that? We're just going to say error like that is equals to that string. So inside here, we put the name of that position. So for example, first name, like that. So you see that? So these will hold the first, it will hold that error if we have an error there. We can copy this and paste it also here. So it can also catch that error. So similarly here, we select these two. Oh, here you cannot be able to select more than one. Okay, so we select that. We change this to surname. We copy this. We also paste it here. So instead of echoing, we want to save the error. Okay, then we come here, do the same thing. We have phone number. Phone number. We copy this. We paste it here. We also paste it here. Guess we have that error. Okay, then for the email, we do the similar thing. Email. You can see how we are slowly incrementing our code, just slowly by slowly. Then you have password. So password. So now, if we save this and we refresh our code here, on line 18, unexpected. That is unexpected. We have a pass error. So let's just search associative array in PHP, like that. We go to W3 schools. We check how do we create an associative array. Oh, I didn't write this. I'm supposed to write array like that. So that's our mistake. So we go back to error here and just write here array like that. So now if we save and we go back here, we close this, we refresh, it should work. So if we make any mistake for now, we're not going to get any error because we've just saved them in variable in an array, but we are not printing them. So you see, if I click and I didn't do that, it won't print. Okay, so we want to put them down here. So to do that, let me see, by the way, where are we communicating errors? Yeah, I think that is where we are. So we can do that. So we want to put them down here. So come here. Now here, we have to I'm trying to think. Excuse me. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna come here. I'm gonna come down here, and after this, after the input, we can just try with one to see. After the input, we can do a PHP tag. So here, we can just say if, we can write PHP, then we can say if is set. If is set, you want to check whether error. We want to check if the error is called what? It's our first name, I think. So we want to check if the error first name is set. So if it is set, we want it to if it is set, we want it to echo the error. So echo error. Echo the error. First name. So I hope you get this. So here we're just writing some PHP code. We're saying go to the server. Check if we have anything on this. If we have it, print it out. So that's what we're doing. Let's just save and see whether this is going to work. So we refresh. Remember, you have to refresh, or we have an error on line 248, unexpected closing. So 248 is here. Can I see? Oh, here. Let's try and interpret. Unexpected, this one, because it is expecting a semicolon or a comma. So you can see I didn't close this line. I didn't close this line with a semicolon. So that's the error. So I just close it like that. Okay, so I save. I go back. I refresh. Good, no error. So now we want to have nothing there, and then sign up. Good, you can see. Please enter your first name. Okay, you can enter something, but we also enter a special character there. Sign up. Please use letter A to Z only. So you see, that's how we do that. Okay, so let's do that for all the other fields. So I just copy this, enter, paste, and then we do sun here. We call it sun. So you see why it's important to use almost the same names. It becomes easy to track them. And here, for number. Here. Here. Okay, here. Password. Password. Control S to save, Alt Tab to go back to my site. I'll click on the here to refresh so that I don't reload the data. So I've reloaded my page. If I come and click sign up, I get those errors. Do I enter some funny phone number? Maybe I enter something that is not an email. Let's say maybe I just enter some password, sign up. So have for number must have 10 digits. Invalid email address. Now, we still have a problem. As you can see, even though we want the user just to change the phone number and the email address, all the data is lost. All the other data is lost, and therefore they have to type in again. They have to type in again, including the password. So that's not very user-friendly because many people don't like to type a lot. So that brings us to element number 5, which you're learning this afternoon, which is persisting data on the form. So how can you be able to retain the data after the user has encountered some errors, so that you can be able to use it. Okay. Okay. So, okay. So how you do that is by you come here. You see, on an input, you can use value. You can use value. For example, gen. If you want to preload some value on the form, you can preload it using the value attribute. So if I save, go back, refresh, see, we're going to have gen there. So, in order to persist data, we use the value attribute. We use the value attribute. The beauty about PHP is that you can use PHP anywhere inside HTML. You can also use HTML almost anywhere inside PHP. So I just like the way they blend. It's like the same thing, yet they are processed at different places. Because HTML is processed on the user end, PHP is processed on the server. But you can blend them in as much as you can really. Right? Okay, I'm just trying to think. Huh. Okay. Let me just put it here. So, not really. Let me do value is equals to like that. Then I can do a PHP inside here. Not sure whether it's gonna work. Let's just check. So PHP. Then in this PHP, we want to check if a value has been set. So we want to check if the variable first name has been set. Has it been set? So if it has been set, we want to do something. What is that? We want to echo it. So because we've used the outer, because the outer quotation marks are double quotes for the echo here, we can use single, but we don't even need. We don't need. We can just funga this line with a semicolon, and then we do first name. First name, like that. So in case we have an error, but the error is not on the first name, or even if it's on the first name, it's still gonna persist it. It's still gonna be there. So let's just check whether this will work. Control S to save. Alt tab to go back to my page. I will reload it and I'll enter some data, but create some error. Then sign up. So you can see now Kelvin remains, but I've lost all the others. I've lost all the others because I've not put that code on the others. But now we have Kelvin. So that is what we call persisting data. Okay, so for this, we just copy this, the value attribute and that up to there. Copy. We come to surname here, space, paste, change the variable name. Surname. Okay, we do the same thing here. We change the variable name to phone number. Oh, what did I do? Okay. And then on the email, yeah. Email. Then on the password. Save, Control S, go back to your site, reload it from the URL, pick some data, introduce some errors, sign up, and now the data persists. All the data we had entered will persist. Yes, you get the errors, but the data persists. So I hope that is clear. As we wind this lesson up, we want to just give the user feedback. If everything went okay, we want to give the user feedback. Just to tell them that successfully, you've registered successfully, for example. Okay. So we can go here. We go up where PHP is in our code here. Now here, we want to check if we have a function to check whether an array has values in it. Array filter. Okay, this one, array filter, underscore filter. So if the array has some values, it returns true. Otherwise, it returns false. So that is what we're going to use. So if array filter, let me check, you do the name of the array. So our array is called error, like that. But else, so we just want to echo echo please sort out the above errors before you can proceed. Otherwise, we want to echo. We can change this color to green and just say successful sign up. Now you can log in. How do you spell Hooray? Successful sign up. Now you can log in, and you can make this a link so that they can go to the login. They can go to the login page. So href is equals to login.php, something like that. So that's how you do that. So save. So right now we're just doing this, but there's much more we can do here. For example, save the data. For example, save the data on the database. Okay, save. You refresh. Okay, produce some errors. Sign up. Oh, we don't have. I was expecting this message. Please sort out the above errors. The array filter not working. Check whether an array is empty. Stack over. You just need to check if there are any elements in the array. Then you just use empty. If you need to clean out empty values, go check. Okay, let me try and use empty and see. Empty. Save. Okay. Oh. Not getting. Okay. I'm expecting this. I want this to be printed. Oh, okay. is it being printed? It's actually being printed there. I want it to be printed here. That's why I've been looking here. It's being printed here, but it's actually wrong because it says successful. Let me just undo this. Use a array filter again and say refresh. Please sort out. Please sort out. Please sort out the above errors before you can proceed. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Okay, so now we have this. How can we print it here? Just the same way we did to the others. I think on this error, array, we can add another one called general. Like that. Then we assign it to an empty string like that. So we can come down here. And assign this to error general like that. And then for the successful message, you also want it there. We can create a variable called success. So we can just call it success. We give it that. So we're just about to finish. So here we have this as success. Success like that is equals to that. Okay, then I can go down to my form here, and I can use this. Copy, paste. So here, I just want to do this general. Excuse me. Then I want this to be success. Success like that. So will this work? Control S to save. Let's see whether it's gonna work or we will have an error. Okay, so we introduce some error intentionally. We do sign up. So you can see we have, please sort out the above errors before you can proceed. It's too close. We can introduce a break to push it down this paragraph. Okay, we can repeat that, enter password, then we can do sign up. And now we have successful sign up. Now you can log in. So that's exactly what we wanted. Normally after this, the user is relocated to some page, maybe the login page, so that they can log in. So ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of our lesson today. I hope you've learned a lot. If anyone has a question, I'm giving you this chance to ask the question. Anyone has a question?